you guys. Happy full moon in Aries. Yee! I am an Aries, in case you didn't know. So full moons and new moons in Aries really get me lit up. I am in my prime. I've been reflective today and ritualing, so my apologies for coming on fashionably late, as usual. It's been kind of busy. If you guys have been following me, the high holidays have been going on, which is culminating today with our full moon in Aries. Starting, remember like 40 days ago or so, about maybe, I don't know how many weeks now, but let's just call it 40 or so, 45 days ago. We had this big new moon, and then it was like all these weeks of reflection, and then we've been talking about Teshuvah and the repentance, and realignment with the higher self and then with the higher path in preparation for Rosh Hashanah, which is specifically the 10 days of repentance, the 10 days of Teshuvah, in which the new moon of Virgo occurs. And then the next day, Rosh Hashanah began, which is the first day of manifestation after, when the waxing cycle begins, right? When the light starts to enter. So that was the seed level of planting the intention, the seed level of the year, the birthday of the year. Rosh is head. This was the birthday of all souls of mankind, and also the same day, the fall of the consciousness of the souls of mankind, the birth of the ego. So again, Aries, the birth of the self, the rebirth of the new self, the rebirth of the ego, the death and the being reborn, right? We're the newborns of the zodiac. So, Rosh Hashanah is about being, dying and being reborn as the higher self. And so it's about atoning for the sins of the past year and of the past self and of the past life. And, preparing and doing a process of self-emptying in order to realign with what is eternal, what is the higher self, what is all good and true about you, and what reveals more of your inner light and aligns you with expanding your potential to be a greater channel of the light in the world, right? And in doing so, you have more affinity with the light, and you experience a more fluid and harmonious and continuous and eternal flow of fulfillment because you're connected with the true source. And so during Rosh Hashanah, it's like we start this ritual and the shofar is blown and it awakens this higher level of supernal light to come in. And it's so strong and so powerful that it is just blasting us free of all of the negativity and breaking through the shells of the grime called klipot that build up over time, and in modern language we call this limiting beliefs, old patterning, trauma, subconscious conditioning, or the subconscious programming, our negative behavioral patterns, the things that we do in a state when we're reactive, right? When we're in a state of effect consciousness, when we're not in a state of centered, grounded intention and proactively being in free will, right? So it's overcoming those negative behavioral patterns, negative thought patterns, where you're constantly playing this negative tape in your mind, and your thoughts are creating these this anxiety and fear and scarcity mindsets and mindsets that are self-defeating. And so then it's all these thoughts create feelings and moods, and so then we start going through these cycles of emotional patterns of feeling like a victim or self-loathing or sadness or bitterness. And so we have to be able to discriminate and distinguish. Some of these feelings are appropriate in seasons and they are useful, but which of them are not useful, right? Because the full moon right now is about releasing and letting go, but it's about releasing and letting go of what's holding us back in order to move forward, right? So releasing the old, that's holding us back from fully being able to project that new self, to embody that new self, and to allow that light to shine through without so much interruption and so much like fogging and smudging our filter, right? Our hermeneutic lens of which we perceive, how we perceive that life is happening to us. So we're having an elevation of consciousness, an awakening. And so, again, back to the seed level, back to Rosh Hashanah. So we're breaking through those negative layers called klipot. And these are the assignments that we have in this life. It's called tikkun. It's like our soul contract. And it has like this big workbook of assignments and scripts and scenarios that we're playing out, right? Almost like the show Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's like we come here with these outlined plot points that we have to get to. But when we're in them, it's like we're improving, right? And we're improving based on, you know, that improvisation is a test or a demonstration rather of where we're at in our consciousness, where we're at in our vibration in life. Like, how are we showing up? Who are we? How are we being affected and reactive, or are we being cause consciousness? Are we being present and self-controlled and clear with intention and grounded and open and honest? And are we paused enough to then proactively choose with free will, right? So, breaking through, figuring out, okay, what is it that the shofar is blowing through and blowing away? And it's opening me up to receive this light of inspiration and being able to, and so like when we're having affinity with the light, the fulfillment of that light coming in our life looks like, oh, I'm inspired. I feel good. Even in the midst of uncertainty, I can make that into determination and perseverance and motivation to do the alchemy of turning this fear into inspiration to take action, right? And as I take action, I alleviate anxiety that makes me feel confused and uncertain. And so I get more clarity as I take action. I get more emotionally sober as I ground myself in, you know, stable structure, right? And so the removing all of this negativity, the purpose of this is so our soul is ascending for these 10 days into the upper realms, where we're going through this sort of judgment day for a week. And every single day between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we are tested and blessed and come up face to face with the 10 dimensions or 7 governing dimensions of reality. And it is starting at 10, but that was at Rosh Hashanah, right? So it's a countdown. It's like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so when we get to 1, that is Yom Kippur. That's the day we fast, and that's the day that we receive a brand new soul, a cleansed, clean, crisp new slate for the year. And we are ready to go. But the days in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we are tested and blessed, and basically with these different 7 dimensions of consciousness in order to lay the infrastructure of the soul in which we will channel the light through. And so basically it's like when you build a house and you have to lay the electrical grid in order to channel the electricity through the house in order for it to function properly. The same thing. It's like our soul is this like infrastructure of like grid work and consciousness, and it channels light and energy, and it needs to be well laid out and sturdy and sound, and, divinely balanced. So again, how we meet each day, or how we've met each day between those days, kind of determines what each of the days of the year is going to play out like. That's kind of the merit that you earned for like the lessons, the level of the lessons that you'll have to kind of play out through the year. So how did you do on Monday? How did you do on Tuesday? Like that might indicate the energy of your Mondays for the rest of the year. That is the spark of light that you revealed. And what that means is that you were challenged that day, and however you could meet it to elevate your consciousness and try harder to be that embodiment of your higher self, it sort of grabbed you that coin in the Mario that gives you that little up level. Well, think about the different things in Mario that you can overcome and grab, and like the point value of those. So the more difficult things you were able to overcome those days, that was like more value that you were able to expand yourself in for those days. So how well did you handle Tuesday? You know, you might be up against that level of opponent or blessing on Tuesday. You know, you were able to establish that level of strength and ability for Tuesdays that, you know, for the rest of the year. And so on and so forth. And so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Yom Kippur, we restrict the flesh so that we separate ourselves from the body consciousness. And we have more affinity with the light because we aren't connecting with the flesh that day. And so we're having the most affinity with the light so that we're in resonance with the light of creation, the light of fulfillment, like understanding, oh my God, like I feel inspired, like even in the midst of challenge, like I understand that this is elevating me in some way. There's value in this. I'm being up leveled, and I trust there's a divine plan, there's a divine order, there's divine timing. And even though it may not be comfortable to me, I'm going to realize that it's going to be the thing that's going to open me up to fulfilling more of my potential, more of my greatness, and it's going to get me more in the direction of alignment with my highest potential and fulfillment, like that divine plan. I wish I could be puppeted and controlled by God. It would be so much easier. I would be at the top of my game, but it requires our participation and free will. It's a discipleship, it's a discipline. That's why self-control is one of the fruits of the spirit, because that is, you know, what we call self-mastery, right? It's the mastery and awareness of the self and being able to rise above your impulses and your unconscious drives and be able to choose with sovereignty how you govern yourself, how you conduct yourself, and what you're consciously co-creating as a deliberate creator. So Yom Kippur, we get the new soul, right? So we have the house is wired, but we need to turn on the power, right? We need to connect to the NES. So the days of Sukkot are the week leading up to the full moon. And basically that's today. And so this week we've again circled back around, but we've injected our infrastructure with the light of blessing, the light of mercy, the light of goodness, the light of the creator. So it's like we've been turbocharging and fueling up our rocket for the year, our vehicle for expansion, our vehicle for growth, our vehicle for the soul journey. So we've been fueling up. So if you've been able to stay in a good, lighthearted, good mindset, or at least hopeful, overcoming, persevering, we were challenged. That was not going to be without a guarantee. But it is like the precious pearl, like that came up in our alchemy reading. It's the one single irritant, that one little grain of sand that causes the process that creates that precious pearl, right? So now it's about, okay, now we've got our new soul. We have the infrastructure. We have the groundwork laid, the foundation. We've fueled up our drive. We're being reborn, reawakened, reinvigorated, renewed. And so we see clearly, okay, this is the direction that I want to go in. I am getting more and more clear by the day on my desire and what I do not desire and what is getting in the way of that and what I don't want to direct my energy and focus into, how I would really want to hone in all of my resources into what is in alignment with my path, what is in alignment with those divinely inspired goals, right? You know, I feel directed. I feel a desire and a feeling of endurance and perseverance, and I feel motivated. And this is not coming from a sense anymore of this is how I can receive for myself and this is how I can, push my agenda forward. But it's more like I can receive to become a greater channel of the light for the sake of sharing, for the sake of like actually uplifting mankind through my own healing, right? Because what we do when we do that as light workers, we take darkness that was going to be in the universe forever, perpetuating more and more negativity, and then we take that and we turn it into gold by overcoming the pain and letting go of the feelings that aren't useful to us, right? So sadness can be useful. We need to mourn within seasons. Sadness helps us process things. Sadness helps us see the dimension of life and the contrast between sorrow and joy. However, sadness, can become toxic if we keep holding on to it, and it becomes despair, right? And despondency and resignation and giving up, or, victimizing the self, or self-pitying rather than, processing and passing through. Bitterness isn't really helpful. It's a very low vibrational energy that's toxic, and it creates like this toxic buildup and shell. It's repellent. Anger, there's a sense of righteous anger, which is also related to Aries. So it's like Aries is governed by Mars, and Mars is associated with that energy of Gevura, right? We're talking about think of the honorable knights of the round table, like defending the kingdom, going out and fighting for good and what's fair, and then providing service and, building and constructing the kingdom, and being fair and in balance and in unity and in a sense of like sharing and, prosperity for all, right? Well, the dark side of that is being a tyrant, or being overly domineering or forceful or aggressive or violent, having anger that's, uncontrolled and, makes you like have outbursts or direct your anger and like maybe cutting ways at people, or that are destructive, that break things down. So it's like, that's what we're getting rid of. And instead we can redirect that angst, and we can try to channel it into more productive ways of using that energy to go after our own darkness that we want to change. Instead of focusing it outward, focus it inward on, how can we build? How can we balance the parts in us, right? How can we bring those things into balance and cut out with a decisive strike, right? So Aries, that warrior energy, that positive energy, is able to take like no hesitation, a single strike of the sword and not look back, and it's a clean cut, right? Clean break. Libra, which is, we're in the season of Libra, the nodes of the moon, the north node is in Aries. This is what we're going towards. The south node is in Libra. This is what we're moving away from. Moving away from Libra is like we're understanding the parts of our interrelational dynamics with people, with life, with our work, with how we interact with things outside of ourselves or others, right? These toxic patterns and these toxic relationship paradigms, we can see them more clearly now and where they were coming from, right? And so now we can like witness it, pause, and decide, instead of going back into those default settings, we can rise above. We can choose now, okay, actually, where did this come from? I can heal this. Where does this core wound related to, and do the work around that. So seeing those old dynamics and being like, this is not how I'm going to do things anymore. Having the Aries in the north node is like learning from that experience, and then applying that wisdom and embodying it into the new self being reborn, being resurrected, the new self that is moving forward into like the big new timeline jump that we've been talking about. So like 2022 is all about clearing the ground and preparing the way and letting go of all of those things that were cluttering our life so that we could make those major changes that we knew that we wanted to make. This year, 2023, was about the slow labor of birthing the new self, little by little, push by push, like tested and initiated every few weeks in different ways that were sort of like helping you come online. And the way that I was like seeing it is like when the rocket is on the launch pad, system control is like turning on different systems within the rocket to warm it up, but to also like bring each thing online in an orderly fashion. One thing supports the other and you build on that. So it's like we have been coming online, and now we're sitting there, all systems are ready to go, and we are looking to launch. And so this full moon is the culmination of like back 6 months ago, which we were in the Aries New Moon in April, right before eclipse season started then. It's like, what were the intentions that we were setting then? Because this is the culmination of that energy. It's a fiery culmination. And this is the last full moon before we go into the next eclipse season. So in the consciousness lectures of the Kabbalah Center, they started talking about this that we've been talking about. When I've been saying, like, this is like, if life so far has been like a narrative series that you've been tuning into for years, then it's like as if The Simpsons has been canceled. But then The Simpsons has been automatically renewed. Like, your life, you are that version. Like, you are a show that's been on your whole life, right? And so it's like the show of your life has been canceled, but it got picked up right away. We're going to do this again, but we don't have to go by the old canon that we had to write our scripts by before. The old canon is like, this is how the characters interact together. This is their relationship. This is the context. This is all the baggage that this character has. This is their motivations. All of those things are like predetermined, and the writers agree upon that, right? It's the collective consciousness that's driving that story, those storylines, those paradigms. So it's as if that old stuff doesn't apply. We've got same characters, the main character's still here, similar plot, but it's like this story can go in whatever direction you see yourself, the higher self, the part of you that you still dream that you know is possible. It's like that life, you can start building it and stepping into it. And so we've been preparing for that for like the last couple of years. Slowly but surely, people even that don't even realize they're doing it are doing it. So big changes are happening. And so, you know, every time we approach eclipse season, it's like the season of, it's like the storm that pulls everything out that no longer belongs, that we haven't been able to release. It like washes it out. This Rosh Hashanah, the Kabbalah Center was also talking about how this isn't like asking for a better year than we've had before. This is asking for a new life that we can't even imagine, that is like in accordance and like level with like divine plan for us. They're talking about that too. And so this eclipse season, all the stuff that we just let go of in Rosh Hashanah, all the stuff that we just released from the old soul, we got the new soul. Sukkot is also about, there's this process that kosher and, you know, Hebrew tradition does, where it's shaking the lulav. And this is like shaking and rattling out like the rest of the stuff, like almost like a saber, right? Cleansing and cutting away any of that old self, the old ego, the old smallness, the old selfish to receive for the self alone, self-defeating, hold the self back, any kind of victimization that we, you know, do to ourselves. You know, it's like all of that stuff that keeps us weighed down. It's like that's that additional purging, right? Shaking it off to get rid of it, shaking it out of our system. And so that is happening on the full moon to support that, to like release, peace and release, right? Cleansing, purging, purification. So again, a final washing and purification. Always this like another chance to like let go and shed. And so again, whatever you are still clinging to when you come through Sukkot, this is a time where we're going right into eclipse season in a couple of weeks. One more note about Sukkot is that the sitting in a booth is like the consciousness, taking yourself outside and putting yourself in direct exposure to the light, but there's this thin veil that separates you, right? And you're sitting under this shelter, and that you know, you can see, you're very aware that you are sheltered by the light, that you are protected by the light, that the light is your source, right, of energy. And literally you are absorbing the light that week. But there is like this thin veil, right, that kind of separates the full force of, you know, being exposed to more than we can handle. But it's like, it's strengthening the vessel, it's strengthening our certainty, it's strengthening our faith in the Creator and in the light, and in, you know, the fact that even in the midst of darkness and challenge, we know that the light can be found anywhere. And anytime there is darkness, there is an opportunity to elevate that darkness and to reveal light in that moment. There's different ways that ends up coming about, and that's why God works in mysterious ways. Sometimes we don't understand it, but that's what is required with trust and faith. You know, all you need is faith the size of a mustard seed, and you know, you can get that faith through the eye of a needle. and it can move mountains. So it only has to be tiny. It has to just be the tiniest willingness, right? And it makes a big difference. Okay, so I didn't specifically name a lot of the astrology that was going on, but we just basically covered everything thematically that was happening. I will say that Aries is cardinal energy. And so Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, and Libra are all cardinal energy, and it's fiery. It's restarting something, starting something new, being reborn. At this point in the year, it's like we're starting the new self, but it's about doubling down in our current goals, I think, probably more so rather than like we want to wrap up and not leave empty vessels, or let go and really establish this new self going forward and the new goal. But like we're at the end of the year, and so it's like, what do you want to complete this year? And being your new self now, meeting what you set out to do this year, but now as the new self, right? It's like the part in the boxing movie where like you think the main character has just had their ass kicked and they're about ready to lose and give up. And like they go for like a little bit of a pick me up and a timeout. They're being squirted in the face with the water, and they're all swollen with black eyes and swollen lips, and bleeding, and they're tired, and their manager's like giving them a shoulder rub, and they're like, you can do it. And they're like, I can't. They're like, you have to. You don't have another choice. Like, you don't have anything to turn back to. It's always like this person that's like, this is the only chance I've got, like mom spaghetti on my sweater already moment. So then the character goes back in and they give it like all they've got, and it's like, yeah, I won. Except for that one Rocky where he didn't, and like everybody hated that one. I can't remember. You're gonna make it up the stairs. So yeah, triumph. We are overcoming. And then also when I shuffled the straightforward oracle here, which is my custom deck, graduation was on top, which is a great card for a full moon. Major healing, lesson truly embodied, wholeness, next level of evolution, completion, successful finish. And I mean, this isn't, like I said, it's not a year of just starting a better self. It's not just like, we're going to do better this year. It's like a whole new life is possible. And so now we're going through eclipse season, and that is literally like the launch and the pushing through the atmosphere, through the stratosphere, into the next realm of outer space, right? So next timeline coming up. All right, in the position of who we are currently, we're going to do a Celtic cross. What do we need to know about ourself in the context of this moment? We're healing the past. So again, right now, using this full moon in the next couple of weeks in the waning cycle to really finally release what we need to heal in order to be able to really and like wholly and wholeheartedly just move forward into a new life and be reborn. And then boredom here is causing stagnation. So don't get in a rut while you're healing. Really start to just mix up that energy and get the fires burning again. Give yourself balance to rest. The energy of Aries is to want to like rush forward and be really impulsive. And so try not to be impulsive in a way that's going to cause you to be in affect consciousness and create mistakes or costly mistakes or set you back. But instead use that angst and channel it intentionally into consistent, grounded, thought out, intentional steps. Yes. So don't let yourself get bored. Balance with rest. Rest you need to rejuvenate and renew and get more inspiration. But don't let yourself get bored or in a rut, or just let like inactivity cause you to stagnate right now. There's too much energy to take advantage of. It'll cause self-loathing. Okay, what is crossing us right now? The energy that's crossing us. One. Deservingness is the key to unlocking your manifestation. This was actually, this came up in last night's romance oracle reading for the week. Great episode, practically, a masterclass. I just was rewatching it and I was like, oh, this is very enjoyable. But deservingness was a big topic that we talked about. And deservingness is key because it doesn't matter what's about to crown us and what's ready to come in. If we don't feel and know and deeply like on a subconscious level agree that we deserve it, then we will sabotage it. We will push it away. We won't be able to receive it. It won't resonate. The vibrational resonance that we need with that won't be there. Okay, now what is the subconscious influence affecting us in this moment? For me, it's this glaring light, metaphysically and literally. Okay. Subconscious influence affecting right now. There it is. Stop obsessing. You need to be more motivated. Oh my God. Stop obsessing is in the deck twice. This is one that I haven't, I guess, combined yet or didn't realize that it snuck in. So motherfucking stop obsessing is in here twice. So whatever it is that your energy and focus and attention is leaking out into obsessively, that is the subconscious block that is holding you back right now. You need to get motivated to get focused, right? This is about just basically pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, keep calm, carry on, but we need to have that mental discipline and that emotional discipline to focus. And you're in great pain is on top of the deck. And it's not that we're in denial, we're not bypassing, but we need to start processing that pain in a productive way and not cling into suffering. And so stop obsessing means maybe you allot yourself these moments to really go deep and stop avoiding it. But then you feel like you figure out a way to like be resilient and snap out of it or channel it into something that you're getting it out of yourself. But don't keep obsessing, right? Let go of the things that you're obsessively toiling over and instead let go, and then it will release the energy around that whole issue and it will be able to flow better because you're not demonstrating trust or surrender in the universe, and so you're getting in your own way. All right, what is the past lesson and influence that is dissipating but still kind of affecting us right now? This is an issue of self-worth. This is a practical matter to overcome, and this is an issue of mother healing. So it's funny, the mother wound is literally connected to self-worth because the feminine, for better or for worse, like demonstrates what we've got going on the inside. And so the mother wound affects the way we feel about ourselves. And so it does affect our sense of deservingness, and it does affect our sense of self-worth. And so until we heal this mother wound or the like subconscious assumptions that our dynamics with our mother like made our like little inner child take on, like we need to start digging that stuff up and being able to put eyes on it and witness it so that we're aware that like, oh, that's what's causing me to make this unconscious pattern play out. That's what's causing me to feel this way about myself, and I didn't even realize it. And you can go back and rewrite that, right? And you can reprogram that in yourself, and we can heal that, and we can connect with like Christ consciousness within and the Creator and Holy Spirit and work together with those forces and find, really like a good modality that you connect with, that you can use the structure of that to dig in deep and do this work. But if you're like, I don't know where to start and I don't know where this is coming from, then the issue is self-worth. And you are healing this, and you're really coming forward and making progress with it, and you're having like eureka moments and insight, but there is still more to do here. And then there is a practical issue to overcome, that basically it's like as you heal the way that you feel about yourself, as you heal this mother wound, then it's going to be easier for you to see, oh, those are actions that I'm taking because of low self-worth. And these are actions that I can take based on a higher self-worth. So I can practically then embody in the way that I behave and act a higher sense of self-worth and self-value, right? This is a practical issue to overcome. It is what it is. Surface level issue, mundane task, face value, a physical world issue. No need to look further or read into this. And so this related to mother healing issues, I feel like all of this is really coming to the surface now. And so it's not like there's more hiding that you're not aware of. It's like, basically what it is and kind of how to approach it now. You have some direction, and now it's about continuing on, now that it's like you're on the right track, just keep going with it. But then it's going to actually take maybe practical action to embody these healed, new healed ways that we feel about ourselves and perceive and act. Takes a minute to practice that and put it into action and embodiment. Okay. So what is crowning us now then? What is has the potential to start coming into being? It's like the energetic weather hanging over us right now. Emotional renewal. Yay. So emotional renewal, we're being rebirthed. A dark cloud is lifting. Epiphanies, a new outlook, transformation. You're truly on the mend, on the way to healing. A brighter outlook, rejuvenation, recovery from burnout, managing depression, having done the work and able to leave the past behind, moving forward, joy and happiness. I love it. This is the rebirth of the new soul. And, me and my friend were talking about it this week. We're like, do you guys feel like infants or like toddlers where you're just like clumsy and you're like starving and tired and like weepy and like emotional, and you're like, I just need comfort, I need soothing, I need to be swaddled, I want something to eat, like I'm just like shitting myself over here. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I'm falling asleep on myself. Like you feel like a baby, because we're like these baby souls, these fledgling souls that are being reborn. And it's like we've got to be patient with ourselves. We've got to be caring and gentle, but at that same time, we've got to use that new, fresh strength. And it didn't even help. Did not even help. But now it's like very noir. Now we use that new reborn vigor and strength to power through and to now proactively show up in a way and a level that we've never have fought for ourselves before, that we are fighting for our new life in a positive way, in like a gung-ho way. I mean, have you ever had to wrestle with a toddler who's determined and to throw a fit and to take a stand for what they want? They are very powerful. They are very strong. And so channel that toddler energy, but in a positive, mature way for healthy purposes, to rebuild the self and to expand the self, not to control your life or to force your agendas. Okay, so what is right around the corner? Graduation. Oh my God. So major healing again, just reinforcing that. Lesson truly embodied, wholeness, next level of evolution and completion, a successful finish. So very, very encouraging. All of this subconscious stuff is quickly moving to the past. It's quickly coming to the surface, especially with this full moon in Aries. It's really illuminating what it is that, we feel like has been holding us back and what we're ready to move on from and transcend. And we're really motivated to do it. And we're just like, I can't even think of that anymore. It's just like, do not vibe with that. Hard pass, just into the old ways, those old narratives, the old stories, the old habits, the old I'm going to go round and around in this again. It's like, no. And we're not even avoiding, we're not bypassing. It's just that we're finally seeing, we're really awakening and we're really healing and graduating and moving forward into a new life, right? And part of the helping us do this is to stop obsessing over the old life, right? When you catch yourself obsessing over the old storyline, just be like, wait, I'm in the new show. We are not bringing the old show into the new show. And, maybe old characters will come back, but it's like, we can't go into those mental loops again. We have to start fresh, clean slate, new experience, new characters, new storylines, new plots. Right? And, maybe your character matures, and when you see those old plots coming back from those old characters, better this time not to play out more scene work. Okay, so what is our perspective that is affecting us right now in this current situation? What perspective do we have that's affecting us the most right now? You're too emotionally invested. Don't be lazy and find a coach or a teacher. So again, we're kind of over-giving to obsessing about something or things, or maybe we, in Libra fashion, like the south node of the moon is highlighting for everyone. It's like, how are you out of balance in your relationships? And so the thing that's kind of like affecting you the most right now and still kind of holding you in place, or preventing you from moving forward totally, is that you get too emotionally invested in what it is that you're doing. And so it kind of puts like a heavier, like needy energy around your goals. And so instead, it's like, maybe even that heaviness creates like a laziness to just overcome and persevere through that emotional sort of comfort zone, right? And so maybe, you know, in order to fully move past that, like find a coach that teaches you how to overcome those personality aspects in yourself. And then find a coach that's really great and niched into the goals that you're trying to pursue in your purpose or your career, or in, you know, like this goal that you have for yourself, whatever that might be. Find a coach there that helps you follow through. You know, find good spiritual teachers that help you continue to develop your soul along your soul journey. You know, that's what we do on this channel, really, more than sensationalism and who's thinking about who and doing what. It's like, it's more about developing ourselves and putting into context what is going on in life and what does it mean and what can we do with this and how can we find better flow and purpose and direction and fulfillment. How can we evolve our soul and transcend the small self and expand into our potential and purpose. Okay, so how does the outer world or other people in your life affecting you right now? Like, how are they affecting you in the process? What is their influence? This is an emotional issue to overcome and let go of control. So again, it's like there's this relationship dynamic of an emotional enmeshment, probably with parents. Maybe even depending on, I don't know, however that trickled out into your life, it may be with siblings or like maybe one specific sibling, or your friendship dynamics, and then your romantic relationships. So maybe, you know, there's a balance or an imbalance of being overly emotionally invested in the relationships in your life when that is not being reciprocated equally. And they have the outer parties that you're being drawn to, you're mirroring one another or being drawn together because you have this like work to do, like tikkun healing, like the soul process together. And so they have emotional issues to overcome in the situation as well. And so you have to let go of control because you can't control that their end of the process. All you can do is control your end of the process. So, you know, challenge yourself to rise above your emotional, where your emotions are controlling you and where they're affecting you negatively and your life and your decisions, and they're driving everything. It's like that needs to be brought into balance. And so we need emotional sobriety. It's causing this codependent script to play out, these interrelational dynamics. And so try to, again, pinpoint and notice where you're emotionally obsessing or where you're obsessing about things that are causing you to be overly emotionally invested, right? Even in your goals. So say if I'm overly emotionally invested in my channel, in this channel, then it's like I get, you know, too hurt and too victimized if it's not growing fast enough, right? I take it too personally. I get too down about it and too emotional about it, rather than just meeting it in an emotionally dispassionate way. Like, okay, I'm just going to continue to be here no matter what. Like, I'm just going to continue to show up and not going to take it personally. I'm just going to like learn to adjust and use different keywords and try different things, right? You know, it's not like I'm taking it personally. I love how like film noir the blinds are right now. Okay, so the blinds. Okay, so this, the next card will represent our hopes and fears, which are sort of inextricably connected when you think about it. Hopes and fears. Hopes and fears. Well, creation phase 4 was really pushy just then. Listen to your intuition and trust your gut. Okay, so listen to your intuition and trust your gut and take action on that. Our hopes, it's like our intuition and our gut are trying to lead us towards our hopes. It's just that our fear is the thing that's clouding us and causing resistance and scarcity mindedness and making us second guess our intuition and holding us back from acting on that divine guidance, acting on those pings. A lucky chances at the top of the deck. So one more card on those, the hopes and fears about listening to our intuition and trusting our gut. This is an issue of self-love. So again, it's like, ask yourself, your higher self who loves you, if I love myself, what should I do in this situation? Is the intuition and the voice of your intuition is going to be the voice of self-love, the higher voice of self. It's going to be leading you in a direction that shows love to you and shows you your value, because that's, you have to choose that for yourself. If you look to other people to love you and to show you that you're worthy and lovable, then you're giving that power away and you're looking for them to fill your vessel. And that is causing a codependency and emotional investment and neediness, emotional enmeshment and neediness, rather than being fulfilled in the self-love, the love that comes from the higher self, from source, right? I'm validated through source, right? This voice of the higher self is guiding me in the direction of loving myself, right? It's just that my fear, my scarcity mindedness isn't allowing me to hear that voice. So it's causing me to second guess that voice. And so as you're second guessing, as you're confused, think about, like, tune into that voice of self-love, and then continue to do things that demonstrate love for yourself. Get to know yourself. If you want an intimate, devoted, and consistent partner and committed partner, then be intimate and devoted and consistent and committed to yourself and to the self-growth and to the things that are going to expand your life. The things that you're building in yourself that another person in and out cannot affect. A job in and out cannot affect, right? Experiences and seasons of life changing cannot affect, right? Work on those things that are eternal, that will always remain with you. Okay, and then probable outcome in our rebirth. What's it gonna be? What is this? Okay, so we need a little bit more planning. Okay, so better left unsaid, bad advice, and needs more planning. So there's something maybe like an impulsivity that you may want to, it may look good, right? But that's why you have to listen to the issue of self-love and the intuition versus the ego self. So whatever you have this like impulse to want to say, really question where that impulse is coming from and where the motivation really is. What is the real motivation? Is it coming from a destroyer consciousness or a creator consciousness? Is this the voice of love or the ego? Is this advice that the zeitgeist is giving and it's coming from a shadow place, a place of like ego and, control and manipulation? Or is this coming from a collective conscious place of higher consciousness, of Christ consciousness, of sharing, right? Sometimes when I don't know which is which and which way to go, I try to imagine Jesus and Mary Magdalene interacting. And if it was them, what would they do? What would they be doing? Would they be following that advice, or would they, what would they do in that situation if they were talking to one another or other people? Okay, so let's get some clarification cards from the Modern Witch Tarot about all of this good news. So yes, needs more planning. Before you say what you want to say, there might just be more process that needs to be had. There were practical issues to overcome and issues of self-love still to iron out. So before action is taken with seed levels of incomplete consciousness, do that healing work and let that clarity of intuition and that loving, voice of the Holy Spirit come forward through the fray. as we're being reborn. And again, like eclipse season is not a great time to manifest and start new things. It's more of a time to like really do that work of healing and letting go and releasing. Because if we continue to hold on to things that don't need to be in our life that we're not really aligned with, then it's going to get even worse. And it's like we're going to be holding ourselves back and missing all of the productive energy going forward that we could be using to our advantage. 10 of Pentacles. So yes, getting really clear on what's going to be, give the long-term value, what's going to be the eternal value, what's going to be the legacy that you're building and leaving behind and sharing with others. What's the long-term value versus short-term gratification? So yeah, really building, you know, something based on stable foundations that can beget a really fruitful crop and harvest, something that is going to be fulfilling and secure and stable for the long haul. Knight of Wands. This is excited and gung-ho, but it can also be immature and fleeting and like getting distracted and going in different directions and being like distracted by shiny object syndrome. So it can be like player energy. It can be non-committal. It can be like having too many ideas. So instead, take this strong, fiery passion and channel it into being more intentional in your direction of this angsty energy. Instead of like being all over the place with it, really hone in on what is going to bring you that long-term fulfillment. What do you really, truly value? And put all of this fresh, like headstrong and cocksure energy into that, into your wise self, right? Embody that wise self, but channel that fresh, like virile energy, that dynamism, right? And it's funny too, because in this positioning, it's like this knight is like racing back to the root, the core values. It's like put all that energy and like determination and getting back to the core, getting back to those root values that are really true to you. Doing it with haste. Going back and revisiting and rehealing and like really completing the healing work to establish those sturdy, solid foundations that will yield long-term value. Okay, what else do we need to know for this new cycle or the waning cycle? Knight of Wands, having the determination to persist even in the face of challenge. You can overcome this pattern. You can overcome this struggle. This is about breaking patterns. It's about taking a stand for the self and like having the boundary and, you know, overcoming the things that have been holding you back, and then putting up boundary and not allowing the things that have been harming you that have been coming in as well. So yes, again, breaking these patterns, breaking these cycles, and rising above and being determined. Ooh, 7 of Cups in reverse. So getting clear, getting more certain, having this lightning flash of clarity and cutting through the crap, cutting through the bullshit, cutting through the lies that we tell ourselves, that other people are telling us, seeing through illusion, getting clarity and seeing through confusion, and not being determined to stay stuck in that, right? Because if you choose to stay in a fantasy world, it's going to keep you stuck and you will regret it and it will hold you back. Right now we have the opportunity to move past this and move beyond it. Let's get a Moonology card for this moon cycle. When I was shuffling, I kept pulling the card that we got last lunation during the Pisces new moon, and it was a fiery climax. It was a full moon in Aries, and I didn't even realize that it's like during the new moon, it's like, hey, keep a lookout for whatever's culminating during the full moon of Aries, which is now. Okay, what is our card for this moon cycle? Be bold and make the first move. Cardinal moon. So this is a cardinal moon. Like I said before, you'll be extra affected if you're a Libra, Cancer, Aries, or Capricorn. I am an Aries moon, Aries sun, Libra rising, Cancer moon. So big new start energy for any of those signs, but really for everyone. But be bold and make the first move. Go out, take action into your life. Don't wait for the invitation. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for validation. Don't wait for it to come to you. Instead, be assertive. Be the ram. Start taking step by step, grounded, certain, sure, strong steps up the mountain. Up the mountain of elevation and up leveling. Okay, let's get one Angel Wisdom Tarot card. Oh, this is it. Oh, ego in reverse. So it's like breaking these shells of the ego, awakening, even fighting with it, right? The ego tells us this is the only way it can be. There is no other way. All of these ego loops that we go on, it's like we're breaking these chains. The illusion of being trapped. Accept responsibility for your situation and then make choices that support your path to happiness. Basically, the summation of everything that we've been talking about. Addictions or unhealthy habits. So breaking addictions, breaking unhealthy habits, breaking unhealthy toxic cycles, habits, patterns, emotional patterns, mental patterns, thought patterns, behavioral patterns. Okay. Let us get 4 cards on our manifestation. What can we do to reveal more potential and get closer to revealing the fulfillment of our manifestations over the next 2 weeks in this waning cycle? The culmination of manifesting what we need to let go of in order to really have this new start. What's been holding us back? All right, contemplation time. So really reflecting again on what it is that we're done with, what we won't accept anymore, what we're really changing, what we're moving forward from, what we're no longer going to accept. Treasure chest, an unforeseen windfall of new abundance is coming to you now. So letting go of all the energetic stuff that's just keeping the space full. So the universe loves a void. So the more space we can clear right now, the greater the treasure can come in. Soulmate relationship, new romance with a spiritual basis is here for you now. So yeah, like new energy, new cycles want to start. Pay attention. Notice repetitious signs and your inner guidance, as this can yield valuable information. So there is guidance coming through. Pay attention to it, act on it, start building trust in yourself by taking those little steps, follow those little hunches and see what happens when you do. Synchronicity, your prayers and questions are being answered by synchronistic events. Notice them in order to increase their flow and call them out loud when you see them. Mother healing, oh my God. As your healings towards your mother heal, your desires manifest more rapidly and accurately because we are cutting through the emotional conditioning that we don't deserve, right? And so we're seeing things more clearly, and it's not necessarily our mother's fault. We're not blaming mother, right? We're just healing the things that accidentally got put there in relation to mother. The assignment she always had from the beginning. It's the curse and blessing of being the mother, right? It's like you can never live up to the archetype of motherhood. Ready, set, go. Now is the perfect moment to dive in, embrace your heart's desire. So again, renewal of desire, rebirth of desire. Jump in, get going. Don't hold back. Take action. Get started. Don't, be impulsive. Take grounded steps. Be consistent. Don't burn out. But don't procrastinate and don't stay stuck in indecision. Just overcome the fear of making a mistake. Just fall forward. Let your L's be angled at 90 degrees, you guys, as Murphy Lee would say. Okay, love life. What do we need to know about our love life for the next waning cycle? What are we needing to know in order to make room? So playfulness, to recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. So in the spirit of Sukkot, it's just get out there in life and have fun again. Don't take everything so seriously. Just be playful and be whimsical with yourself and get lost in the moment and have fun and just put that energy out in the universe, and it's going to start attracting what lights you up to you. So you want to light yourself up, and then what will light you up will be you'll be drawing that in, and it's going to get your heart open and turned on again, and getting the juice of desire flowing for life, a desire, a lust for life again. Religious factors. So your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. So again, with this, with all of this subconscious motivating, blocks right now, it's like a lot of your religious factors could be holding you back. Can't tell you how many people I know with religious trauma that have so much shame around, what they just having desire, just feeling love and, normal things and relationships. Like they have so much shame and guilt around sex and, whether what they deserve, especially, with the LGBTQ and trans and question community. I'm sorry if I'm not saying all of those things right, but I'm doing my best. But everyone involved in all of the complexities of, being alive in this world and having sexual organs and gender issues. It's and then relational factors on that, and then everyone's judgment around it too. It's so complicated. And so, the people around you may be throwing, all their religious dogma and assumptions around you and judgments that have been affecting you and affecting your ability to align with what's authentic with you, what's true for you. And so, that could be affecting you right now, or it could be affecting people who are interested in you. You can't control other people. Also, this to me talks about our own soul process. So sometimes it's we have parts of the journey where our soul process is in relationship with someone romantically, and it's about how we're interacting with that person. But then sometimes it's about how we develop our own relationship with self, and we need to discover ourself and heal ourself and become more aware of the underlying patterns that are sabotaging relationship or keeping them at a lower level. And so that is okay, someone else's process and your process are happening right now, and that is what's affecting the situation. So accept life as you find it and just go have fun and be in your own process of healing and be lighthearted and don't get down about it, because that won't help either. Okay, what else? Okay, release your ex. So letting go of the past. We can't bring all this baggage with us into the new story, into the new life. We just can't. It doesn't mean that we're getting rid of all the people that we've ever known or something, can't be reconciled or renewed. But it does mean that we have to let the past be in the past, and releasing all those things fully and completely before you can go forward fully and completely into something new, or even revisiting, someone from the past again, which the new timeline is taking us, into this new, this new storyline. So you're becoming such a new person that almost the dust has to settle and this up level has to settle and set before you are knowing what you're going to truly resonate with. Because what you used to resonate with a year ago, a year and a half ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 7 or 8 months ago, it might be totally different than now, right? Or when you come out of this, when you come on the other side of it. So release the past, release the ex, release all expectation of anything that you've severed ties with. Clean, decisive cut of the sword, right? Be a clean slate with no frayed edges. And then what comes to you then comes to you in a new way. It's not tied to anything from the past. Okay, and then one more card about our romantic lives. Ooh, we're at an hour. We're doing pretty good. Last time was 2 hours. One more card on our romantic. I feel like it's this one up here on top. Feel it. Attraction. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. So again, just let go of obsessing about what is coming into your life right now and what is not in your life and what you want and just let everything go. Stop and smell the roses. Be in enjoyment with this time with yourself and with healing and with getting cozy and reflective and pensive through the fall. And Take this moment to go deep in the heart and deep in the mind and deep in the consciousness and deep in the soul, and really think about, oh my God, this is not just New Year's. This is not just spiritual New Year. This is a new life. This is a new day. And I want to really envision what I want that to be. And I want to really get clear on what I don't want it to be. And we have a season to do that, and like, let it be for the next couple of weeks, you know, and let it extend into, you know, through eclipse season. You know, I don't think I'm going to take on any new goals or any new exciting, you know, aims. I just really want to go deeper in all the things that I've set out for, you know, through the year. And feel really good about going and doubling down on all of it. Okay, let's get some loving advice from Mother Mary, Jesus' mom. I'm just gonna get some motherly wisdom for the next couple of weeks. What do you think we should do about it, Mary? Mother Mary? You can give us the advice that we need on mother healing. And you know, you can turn to that energy of Mother Mary, Jesus' mother, for that. She was the vessel of that divine mother, the holy supernal mother, right? She gave birth to the Christ, to the thy kingdom come, thy will be done, right? And so we can turn to her for motherly comfort and nurturing and guidance. Honesty. I am in touch with my true feelings regarding the situation. So to really get in touch with your true heart's desire, you have to be honest about what it is and what it isn't. And so stop putting on a mask for other people's approval. Stop putting on false selves because that's what you think you should be doing. And instead get honest about what your soul is here to express and who you're here to be, uniquely you. And so your soul has unique desires. It's drawn to unique things that maybe don't align with other people, right? But being true. Being honest about your gut instincts, being honest about your intuition, where it's guiding you and leading you, and getting honest about when you hear advice that you think is not good for you, that you kind of have that tinge in your gut and you know it, and you're like, nah, I don't think that's right. And just being honest about that and real. And so the other card that was with that was mercy. I am kind and thoughtful toward myself and others. You know, when you extend kindness and mercy, you fall under the protection of that. And there's almost nothing more protective than the energy of mercy, right? Because no matter who you're at the mercy of, if you're vibrating with mercy, it's going to be coming and going, right? So extending mercy and compassion and kindness, and you will receive it. I am kind and thoughtful towards myself and others. And it's funny too, because it looks like this angel's got this like bouquet of flowers. So the lilies, 3 lilies of the Trinity, but also it reminded me of the lulav, right? Shaking away anything that is not compassionate and merciful and kind and love, right? Let all that remains be eternal, right? And these 3 things remain: faith, hope, and love. And let the greatest of these, and the greatest of these is love, actually, is what it says. All right, and then last word, it comes from Jesus. Loving words from Jesus. Jesus gets the last word. What advice do you have for us, Jesus, about the next couple of weeks? Ooh, okay, I've never pulled these. You are the light of the world. Oh my goodness, so flattering. Thank you, Jesus. Love that you think so. You are the light of the world. So yeah, whenever that nasty voice of the opponent, especially the feminine Satan that makes you feel terrible about yourself, that triggers the mother wound, is getting down on you, just remember that Jesus said you're the light of the world. And in the final lecture on Yom Kippur, the Rav was pointing out that these 2 of the most powerful fallen angels used to be 2 of the most high angels in, you know, the higher realms. And when God was creating man, they were like, why are you creating man? They're going to fall. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to separate from consciousness. We're perfect. We do everything you say. Like we just keep it like with us and with the animals and with nature. Look at the beauty and the majesty of the mountains and the flowers and the nature. Like the humans are going to ruin this. And God was like, that's okay. They are going to ruin it, yeah. But the fact that they have so much to overcome and they're going to try anyway, and they're going to reveal light and they're going to reveal beauty even amidst like the struggle and the squalor and the filth, They are doing what you could never do and what you are incapable of doing, because they're there getting their hands dirty in the process, and they are worth it even with their mistakes. Their mistakes give them their value and their purpose, because they're revealing what was left behind that is dark, that is dense, that is refuse, that is negativity, and they're elevating those sparks of light. They're changing it forever. They're alchemizing, and you can't do that from your position. You don't have free will, and they use their free will to overcome their darkness, and that makes them the most precious and the most sovereign, and it makes them higher than even the angels. And the angels were like, okay. And so then later, after the fall, right, like a week later, God has created this majesty. Maybe like the next day, it was like, okay, we have all this perfect now. Like, are you sure you want to make humans? Within like that same day of like creating the humans, Adam and Eve fell, and those two highest angels were like, see, we told you this was going to happen. We told you that the humans weren't worth it, right? And that's when they were like, okay, you know what? God was like, you don't get to be here. Like, the humans are worth it, and I'm not even going to allow the suggestion that they are not worth it. And so that's the ultimate wound that we carry, is that we have this wound, this subconscious belief that was put on us as our infant selves in consciousness as Adam and Eve. We're not worth it. We don't deserve. We've been cast out of the garden. We are shameful. We don't deserve anything. We are shit. We are lower than shit, right? We have to overcome that. That's the fall that we have to overcome. You know, that Catholic guilt that people talk about, that's not what we should be projecting on us because of the sin. That's what we need to heal from. That's what made the fall happen. That's what caused the separation from the Creator, was the shame and the feeling of undeservingness. It's that we have to overcome to find affinity with the light again, that we have to rebuild the vessel, that we have to rebuild the self-worth, the love for the self, the love for the Creator, and trusting that the love of the Creator is always there shining to us, that it is only our shame that clothed us. Who told you you were naked? Who told you you needed to put on clothes? When we fell, that created the physical world. That created the flesh suit that we live in. Otherwise, we would have been in the realm of the soul, in the realm of the non-physical, in the realm of perfected energy, where we can look at food and be fulfilled, and we're in harmony with all the animals. But coming here to earth, now we have a process. Now we have to cultivate and break wheat in order to make bread. And so that is the purpose of life. That is the whole ticket that gets us here, is the process. It's our shortcomings, it's our mistakes. That's what gives us the worth and value. It's the coal that we make our diamonds from. And let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. So again, you are the light of the world. You are worthy of being here. You're the whole purpose, right? You are the vessel that the light wanted to share with. The purpose of this physical world was that so that light could have an inner dynamic. It is Aries, Libra. It is self and the consciousness and the birth of the self and the self-realization, and also how we can share that light and the light that we channel through by perfecting and healing that self, how we then have capacity to interact and share with others, right? In our relationship dynamics, in that Libra, right? So again, Adam and Eve are Libra. They're Librans. All of the souls of mankind are Librans. Isn't that crazy? Let not your heart be troubled, and neither let it be afraid. Don't be fearful. Don't be fretful. Everything is fine. Everything is working out. This is a new day. It's a new dawn. A new year lies ahead, a new life, a new story that we can't possibly imagine. So the more that we allow that old part of ourself to melt away, to wash away, let the embryonic tears of the universe, of the womb, the embryonic fluid of the womb, that salty water, take salt baths, let that salt water heal and wash away and cleanse and process and renew, right? And don't be hard on yourself if you're crying, right? It's like we're mourning that old self. It's like we're processing. Let your body do its thing. You might have ascension symptoms this week, right? So don't have a panic if you have something weird, going on or out of the ordinary. It's probably just ascension symptoms. If symptoms persist, see a doctor. All All right, you guys, happy full moon in Aries. Take care out there. And if you can, do some purging into a journal. Maybe write out a list of what you're letting go of, what you don't want to take with you any longer. And then ways that you promise to empower yourself, the ways that you intend to change going forward. And like small things, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 small things that you can change that'll make all the difference, right? Little tiny root level changes that will have compounding effects. For me, mine is if I can start getting up really early in the morning, I can completely change my daily routine and I think get a ton more done and use my better, more productive hours and then have a lot more freedom and rest later. And so I think I can fit more in less time, and I think it'll be life-changing if I start doing that again. I love getting up early, but working at night and like making videos again at night, and there's content I make during the day, it leaves me tired and I sleep a little bit later than usual, but I haven't felt the same level of like my top game that I do when I get up early. So that's the thing that I want to do, and I think it can have compounding effects throughout the rest of my day. So yeah, let me know in the comments what one thing that you guys could do that could be like super, super life-changing to build new structures upon. All right, y'all, ciao.